So for this Windows 2003 to be installed on your local system, you need to have some kind of virtualization software. Those softwares ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ market ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ available ਨੇ VMware, not this one, VMware download, and this is the website for this VMware. You can download this software, but this software is not available for free. You need to have a license for this, and it's available for Windows as well as Linux. So virtualization ਦਾ ਇਹ software है. दूसरा software ਜਿਹੜਾ है that is available from Oracle, that is VBox, VirtualBox. You can download this software and install it on your local computer, and it's available for Windows, Linux as well as Mac. तीनों platforms के लिए ये available है. So what you need to do, go to this virtualbox.org and then just click on this button to download your the software on your machine. So this will download the executable file, and you need to install that file on your computer, and it's pretty simple. उसमें next ही करना और nothing else. Everything lies inside that VBox. So here I have this VBox VirtualBox software installed on my machine. And let me delete this yesterday's installation, remove and delete all files, and we'll start with this VirtualBox machine. So for this, you need to have a new machine. Click on this new button and give it a name. Let's say Win2K3. मैं इसको दे देता हूँ नाम. And it automatically guesses what you want to install. So we wanted to install Windows 2003. It's 64-bit version. And click on this continue button. So it says that it cannot create a machine folder in the volume portable and so and so. The reason for that was कि जो ये path बताया हुआ, this path is on my portable disk. So I need to change this path to some other path, whatever is available on my local computer. So this Mac HD is my local computer. It's my users and then Rajiv Puri and then virtual VMs. This is the path, and let me clear the old folders here, which I don't want. So I don't need this WK3. I don't need this W2003. So I'll be deleting these two folders, moving to bin. Windows 10 is sometimes I do use. So I'll open it up here. So my machine folders is users Rajiv Puri VirtualBox VMs, and then click on the continue button. So at this step, it will ask me how much memory you want to allocate to your virtual machine. So if I have a 4 GB system, then I can allocate 1 GB out of that. 1024 MB is sufficient. If I have an 8 GB system, then I would preferably have 2048 MB, that is 2 GB. And since I have 16 GB available on my machine, so I can go up to 4 GB, even 4096 MB. Then click on the continue button. So it asks me how much disk space do you want to allocate. So you need to have this option ticked up, create virtual hard disk now. Click next. The type will be VDI. Click continue, and it should be dynamically allocated. If you give it a fixed size, then it will straightforward allocate 50 GB to your disk. तो हमें वो नहीं चाहिए, जितनी space consume होगी हमें उतनी साथ के साथ वो उसको increase करता रहे. So we will have this option as dynamically allocated. Then click on continue, and it asks me how much space do you want. So 20 GB is more than enough. What I can do is I can have it reduced to 10 GB at the most. That will be more than enough. Click on this create button, and it's done. So your virtual machine is now ready, but the operating system is not ready. आपको इसके ऊपर operating system अभी install करना है. So उसके लिए you need to go to the start option. Keep this option selected W2K3 and then click on the start option. And then it asks me कि आपको कहाँ से इसको install करना है. So I have this W2K3 cd1.iso. So ये ISO कहाँ से मिली basically कि मेरे पास यहाँ पे in my downloads section I had this W2K3 source files. So ये दो source files मेरे पास थी. I'll make you available these two files and you can download it from our college website, and then you can start the installation process. So I have selected this and then click on the start button and it will start the installation process. So you can just select this option scale mode so that it shows you this sufficient size. So by this time Windows is preparing to install, and this one is the first welcome screen that you see over here, and you will be getting all the important instructions at the bottom part. Like here you can see enter is equal to continue, R is equal to repair, and F3 is equal to quit. So whatever you want to do, you need to choose your action according to these options displayed at the bottom. So currently I'll be pressing the enter key to continue, and in the next screen it shows me the license agreement that Microsoft is a proprietary software, you need to buy license and so on. So the next instructions are now displayed at the bottom. F8 is equal to I agree. So you need to press F8 key if you agree with these license terms. And if you don't agree with these license terms, you can simply press the escape key and you will quit this installation process. And if you want to read this entire license agreement, you can press the page down button to go to the next page. So we already know all these terms and conditions. So I'm simply pressing F8 key to move on to the next screen. Here in the next option, it shows me that you have one disk available of 10 GB size. Yes, 10 GB size, and it is unpartitioned yet. You need to create a partition out of this. Fine. So I'll be creating two partitions out of this 5 GB each, and then we'll install the OS in one partition and keep the second partition for some other files. So you can choose this size as per the availability on your disk. मेरे पास बहुत ज़्यादा space available नहीं थी, so I downsized this disk. To create a partition, you have these options available at the bottom. Enter is equal to install, C is equal to create partition, F3 is equal to quit. So if you straightforward press the enter key, it is automatically going to create a partition and start the installation process. But if you want to manually create partition, you can simply press the C button from the keyboard. So I'll be pressing C button from the keyboard, and it allows me to dynamically change this partition size. So I'll be changing this to 5000 MB. So that is approximately 5 GB. And then I'll press the enter key. So now it has divided that 10 GB disk space to 4.9 and 5.7 GB of disk space, two partitions. Partition one is new and raw partition. The second partition is still unpartitioned space. So you can create a new partition again by highlighting this unpartitioned space and then press the C button over here, or you can create this partition after installation of Windows 2003. So we'll choose the second option, and I'll move on to the installation process. So highlight this partition one option, and then at the bottom it says enter is equal to install. So I'll press the enter button. If you highlight this option and then press enter, it will create a partition and then install Windows on this second partition. So you have to be careful that you have selected this first one. Press enter to install. Then in the next step, it asks, uh, how do you want to format your hard disks? So there are two file systems available, NTFS and FAT. NTFS is a more secure file system, as you know, and there are certain restrictions for the FAT file system regarding the size and security. So we don't want to go for the FAT. NTFS will be better. And now there are two options for NTFS as well. Like you want to go for a quick format, the first option, or you want to go for a regular format, the third option. So if you know that you don't require any files on your disk, you have wisely created partitions, then you can go for a quick partition and it's quite fast. It will partition the disk in a few seconds. But if you go for a full format, then it is going to take some time, maybe a couple of minutes, and it is going to do some disk checks and other things during the installation process, during this formatting process. So I want to skip all that and go with the NTFS quick installation. So now in this step, the system is formatting, and after that it will start copying the necessary files onto the disk on the newly created partition. So once this process is finished, the system will ask you to reboot. So allow this to reboot, and mind it, you don't need to press the enter key once you reboot when it asks for that you want to boot from CD or not. Because if you press the enter key at that moment, then it will again start the installation process. Here, you don't need to press any key, just wait for this to complete. Done. So during this installation, Windows 2003 installer will show you the different features of this Windows 2003. You can read about all those features here. Like the first one, it says the Windows 2003 server family provides the most productive infrastructure platform for powering networks, applications, and web services. So just keep on reading what it is doing at this stage. So it is installing the devices. This Windows 2003 has a greater productivity, and it is now very easy to deploy, manage, and use your systems. And there are so many benefits for the administrators that the complex tasks they can do now with very great ease. Now, next option, it asks you for the regional settings. Click on the next button, and you can specify the name. I'll say Rajiv, and organization is DAV. Click on next, and here it asks you the volume license key. So whatever license key you have, you need to give that license key over here. So after specifying the CD key, you will be getting this screen as the next screen, which asks you for the licensing mode. We have two options available here: per server and per device. So if you select this per server option, you need to specify how many licenses you have bought. So say if I have bought 10 licenses, I will enter the number 10 over here. Now the Windows will keep a check on that at the most only 10 clients will be able to access your system. The 11th client will not be able to connect to your Windows. Fine. So if you need to connect the 11th client, then you need to change this licensing option from inside the Windows. The second option is per device or per user. It requires you to be honest and have a client access license for every device that is going to connect to this Windows 2003 system, because it is not going to check how many devices are currently being connected to the system. So this will be a better option performance wise, because it does not need to check whether you are authorized to use it or not. But on the other end, you have to be honest. If Microsoft discovers that you don't have sufficient number of licenses and you are using it, then you might be attracting some legal claims. Click on the next option, and here you need to give the computer name. Let's say I give the computer name as DAV2K3. Then you need to specify a strong administrator's password. Fine. So if it's a production server, then you should have a password of at least 8 characters long, in which you should have uppercase, lowercase, and special character and a number type of combination. But since this is not a production server and it's only for the training purpose, so I'm keeping this password open, blank. Click on the next option. It will warn me that this is the administrator account. So it doesn't matter. I'll click on this yes and then move on to the next screen. In the next screen asks me the time zone. So Indian time zone is plus 5:30. So you can straightforward look out for this 5:30 kind of thing here. Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai and New Delhi. So select this time zone and click on the next option. That's it. So after that, it will start configuring certain network options. Just wait for the dialog box to be displayed here. So it shows you the network options. When you are starting with your system, you can go with the typical settings and it will automatically take care of what is to be done. But if you are an expert, you can choose this custom settings and then you can configure the network components manually. Like you can give the IP address, you can give the subnet mask, DNS, router, etc. So currently, I don't need all these things. So let the system configure the typical settings and I'll select this first option and click on the next button. The next, it asks me that your computer is not on a network. You want to make it available to a group. So you can select this work group. और अगर आप इसको किसी domain का member बनाना चाहते हो तो then you can give that domain name over here. So we don't currently need it. Let it be a member of the work group. Click on next. And I guess this was the last configuration that was asking me. After that, the installation will complete and it will reboot the system. Almost done. Still showing me 16 minutes, but actually, I guess it will take not more than a couple of minutes at the most. So it's all done now and it is going to reboot the system. And after this reboot, now again don't press enter key, otherwise it will restart the installation process. So this Windows 2003 system is now up and running. So it says you should change your battery or switch to the power outlet to keep losing from your. If you're working on some laptop, then it is going to show you this type of message. And now you need to press Control Alt Del from your computer. But since you are in a virtual machine, so the Control Alt Del needs to be passed on to this virtual machine. So go to this input option, then keyboard, and then choose insert Control Alt Del from there. So it will present you this login dialog box. Just click on this OK button to log in. So if you have specified any password, then you need to give that password over there. Otherwise, since we have kept the password blank, so there was no need for this. And this shows that after installation, you have certain steps to be performed, like critical security updates you need to install, and you need to configure the automatic updating of this server. So since this is only a learning server for us, so we won't be wasting bandwidth to update this server. It's not required. So just click on this finish button and it's all done. And after that, it will show you the configure your server wizard. So this server basically is an empty server. It does not have any specific application servers installed. So if you want to add any specific server, then you can click on this add or remove a role and then manage your server. So we'll be using this option later on in our class. But currently, this is all done now. And you can simply press this close button to close your machine, to close this machine option. Here, your Windows 2003 system is ready. You can see all these default options available over here. Fine. So that's all about the installation of this Windows 2003, and we'll be discussing the server roles with the passage of time.